I have it with your name on it right here.
Okay, don't wear my costume. Happy Halloween. Hi, I'm Nicole. I am responding to Kevin Mendoza's main claim that the prohibition of homosexual blood by the FDA continues to have a negative effect on the domestic blood supply. First of all, he's using the word proposition kind of like the verb, which is the act of not allowing something to be used or done. And him saying that the FDA doesn't allow homosexual men or homosexuals at all to donate blood is false, because they do allow them to donate blood. They just have to wait a 1-year deferral, and they can't have any sexual intercourse during that whole year. But it's false to say that they're prohibiting them, because they do allow them. So that's just first of all. His secondary claims are that basically there is a blood shortage. If the FDA considers alternate options for homosexuals when donating blood, it'll help the nation's blood supply. That's his second claim. And then his third is a statistic from 2014, which was before the FDA changed the ban of homosexual men from donating blood. So this is an old statistic. And it says that lifting the current ban on gay men, which has been since changed, will increase the nation's annual blood supply by 4%. So he's just stating a fact that's kind of old, and we already know. So my main claim in his response is that the FDA is not prohibiting homosexuals from donating blood. They are deferring anyone who may have been in contact with the HIV virus, not just homosexuals, so anybody. So we talked about the definition already. Let's see. So on the topic of the year deferment, it's a tremendous step forward from 30 years ago when they couldn't donate blood at all. So he's saying that the FDA continues to have a negative effect on our blood supply, but they're actually working on making it better. So they're not continuing to make anything more negative, they're making it positive by allowing homosexuals to donate. So, let's see. As said by Jason Silverstein, he's a lecturer at the Department of Global Health and Social Medicine at Harvard Medical School. He said that the year deferral has no negative effect on the blood supply and actually did the opposite and increased the amount of blood available as suspected. So, like I said, this new deferment policy is not continuing to have a negative effect. It's actually getting better. In his first claim, it is true that we do need blood and platelets and donors, but this isn't because homosexual men can't donate, within the year that they have to wait. And the current recommendations for donor referral applies to every donor. So homosexuals, heterosexuals, bisexuals, and transgenders, and anybody else. And on a side note, the FDA actually allows transgenders to decide, whether how they identify. So this doesn't even apply to them. So they're making big steps forward in, today's society. So what else? His second claim fails to point out the fact that they are considering alternate options. But again, this isn't because of homosexuals not being able to donate blood. They're just trying to be extra careful, and they are considering, like self-assessment tests and self-reporting. They're just looking over this carefully because people could lie and, still try to donate even if they have been in contact with HIV. So basically, my conclusion is that the FDA isn't prohibiting homosexuals' donation of blood and are currently looking for new strategies to help this issue at hand. Lifting the ban from decades ago allowed many more individuals to donate, and any healthy donation is a positive effect on the blood supply. And that's why this all matters. So that's it. Thank you.
Well, you identify the main proposition and the advocate's secondary points. Basically, your whole argument comes down to the notion that there's been a change in the FDA policy and that this new deferral for 1 year is fixing whatever problems there were. I think the advocate's argument is that the deferral is problematic, or they act as if that it's still in place. And I think you've denied that not the deferral, but the prohibition is in place. You denied that pretty effectively. The advocate in their original argument seems to have kind of agreed with that. So the real dispute is whether or not the deferral is going to hold down donations in a way that is going to be harmful. You point out that once they changed, they did get increases in the amount of blood that was donated. You kind of agree with the same statistic that the advocate cited about a 4% increase. I think that you needed to come to grips a little bit more with the advocate's argument concerning whether or not the deferral process is going to keep people who are active homosexuals from being able to donate, and whether or not there's something harmful or problematic about that. You did have a good hint of an argument in there, which I thought needed to be developed a little bit more, and that is that the rules apply to everybody. It's not just homosexuals, but you have a whole bunch of criteria come along, whether you're straight, gay, transgender, whatever it is. You can't have done X, Y, and Z sorts of behaviors, because those are the ones that are most likely to transmit HIV. So the notion that I think there's a good argument to be made here that says this has nothing to do with any social policy or any discrimination issue. It's all got to do with the safety of the blood, and the deferral change has had the impact of increasing the amount of blood, and it's keeping it safe. And your argument then should be it's incumbent on him to prove that the blood would be just as safe if we got rid of this 1 year deferral and allowed people to donate at any particular time in the process, and then give us a reason why that 1 year deferral makes sense. Whether it is how quickly HIV becomes apparent in the system, something along those lines, tracking issues like you talked about. There could be a whole bunch of things that are going on like that. All right, thank you.